The following telephone recordings are from August 1976, Dave and Evan's phone trip. I'm listening to the raw recordings with Bill, and I'll be putting this together with some of our comments. We may not have much to say about this, but this is Front Royal, Virginia, which is primarily famous because back in 1973 I wired an open sleeve conference there. Of all the ones I did, it was the one that sounded the best. A lot of these had
Office Noise or the 360 or something on them I could picture.
not that. It was that a lot of them, the intercept trunk was weighted down even.
Oh, it was bleeding your audio right. It was shorting it right out.
Yeah, and the thing was, I was doing a lot of independence, and here's what I found out. Most steps have the right open sleeve. They work.
Mm-hmm.
And the Stromberg XYs work. They work just fine. But there are some steps that don't work, and especially the kind used by Carolina Telephone, or one of the kinds. Those have no open sleeve activity, so even if you would sometimes find a natural open sleeve, and it would just go dead and could not be started to ring.
You could never make it ring. Joy Bubbles ran into that once, and I don't know if he ever got to the bottom of what that meant.
Yeah, I think it was just that brand of step. If you did absolutely nothing, it...
The sleeve had to have battery or ground on it, which of course is typical. But while open in Bell System step or in the majority of independent steps, you could work with it. But apparently, if this was open, no relay would operate, I suppose.
I think so. And we never really found out, all the different brands of step that were being used out there. Although Joy Bubbles might have later found out, I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's one of two recordings I found of the Front Royal Conference. Very brief because I'm about to run out of tape. This is 1973. Tape is at a premium, and you can tell that I went back and recorded the end of the call to get it in before the tape ran out.
Hello, recording.
This is the recorded announcement of Front Royal, Virginia. The number you have dialed is a wrong number or a number no longer in use. Please check your directory or dial the operator for assistance. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
D. Bell here.
Yeah.
Oh.
By the way, I prepared the first part of the tape of my tapes.
The what?
The first part of the tape of my tapes for you. Okay, we'll get on.
Get on 3146.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
From that recording, you can hear just how loud and clear this particular conference was. It was really the best. And while I'm here, let me mention that I didn't actually wire it. I just did one of my cringe-worthy human engineering near failures. Let's just say I'm no Denny. Anyway, here's the other recording of the Front Royal Conference that I have been able to locate. This was made by Ben. He's meeting me on it so that I can give him a copy of the Dom Tuffy tapes. When he rings into the conference, the Front Royal recording is overshadowed by a recording I'm playing just for fun.
I'm sorry.
The number you have reached is not in service at this time. If you are calling a group Bell member, please stay on the line and that member will answer. If you are calling any other number, please hang up and dial your operator. Thank you. I'm sorry. The number you have reached is not in service at this time. If you are calling a group Bell member, please stay on the line and that member will answer. If you are calling any other number, please hang up and dial your operator. Thank you. Group Bell.
Evan?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's go ahead with the Tuffy tapes. Tuffy tapes. Go ahead. Wait.
Hold on. Don Tuffy.
Anyway, here are the actual recordings of dialing from the Front Royal office years after the conference was gone.
This is a recording in Front Royal, Virginia. Thank you. I'm sorry, the number you have reached is not in service at this time. If you need assistance, please hang up and dial your operator. This is a recording in Front Royal, Virginia. Thank you. I'm sorry, the number you reached...
That sounded like a 11X code, didn't it?
It did sound like a 11X code, and of course the lovely step switches you can hear when he finishes talking.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just great. You knew where he was when he made the recording. Right then and there. It was done by the switchman.
The other thing about this office that I'll mention is that the absorbing sounds are especially distinct, and that may be because we're standing out right next to the CO. I think we are in this case.
Always a good place to be, if possible.
Oh, operator?
Yes.
Can you tell me what exchanges are local from here?
There's no exchanges local except the 635 area, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
Bye.
She wasn't in the same building. That's clear enough.
She's in Leesburg. She's Bell.
Ah.
She's C&P of Virginia. In Leesburg.
C&P of Virginia, yes.
Leesburg was a Crossbar 5 toll center.
I've never heard a supervision test like that with a milliwatt, or it may not have been at a milliwatt, but a 1 kilohertz or 1004 tone. I'm not Joy Bubbles, so I can't tell the difference. You know, I just had never seen that before. I'm used to low tone or nothing, or dial tone, which is very disconcerting.
On that one, you could actually hear the 1 kc tone continuous before it answers, and at first I wanted to make sure it's not tape print through, it's really feeding through before the thing answers.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Some of those were pretty immune to any kind of signal between the rings, but
in practice, it's very funny. I think that with these independents, the same ring that has absolutely no line through sound in one office, you put it in another office, and there is.
So that wasn't the determining factor then. Whoa!
It's the connector, I think. And the AE connectors especially have full separation. It's the tone.
Yes. That's what I remember from Joy Bubbles. Yes.
The tone you hear may be exactly the same thing that's ringing the phone line, or not, but you don't hear the phone line.
Yeah. So great, the Bell system stuff, that you could actually, with some of the 1A series coin phones, you could actually hear the microphonics of the Bell very occasionally.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. We had one on campus at Farmingdale.
Yep, and then the 80s, there were tone ringers that used to leak their tone back onto the line.
Oh, that's funny. I never heard one of those. That's funny.
You didn't? Wow.
No, I didn't. I moved to a mostly ESS area in '79.
Okay.
There were some non-ESS offices, but I didn't really have much pardon the pun, we're about to go to Pennsylvania. I didn't have much intercourse with them, really.
Yes. Oh, by the way, we stopped there.
Yes.
But the phones weren't recordable, so you could say that we got...
Absolutely. Almost.
Very good. Reminds me of Lynbrook.
I was just going to say that. I swear I was. Not the same tone, but the same cadence. I love step-by-step offices. That 11th level is just such a joy. Of course, you know me. I like anything that goes...
Oh, this one you can hear the other phase.
Yes, you can. Yeah. When a selector cut in more than I usually do.
Yeah, I was dialing my own 7-digit number, and there was one selector that had had more hum than the rest.
Yes, it certainly did. And fortunately, once you cut through beyond it, the usual rule of step. The next thing provides everything, so it didn't affect the call any.
Yeah, and usually
they become transparent once they cut through.
Yeah, that is so cool. They extend tip and ring, and power control and everything goes to the next thing down the line.
Yes.
And then typically the connector is usually silent when it's waiting for digits because it uses balanced power.
And that's a good thing because you probably have to talk over it, and that's probably why the connector does that.
You know,
that's
the
power
true.
You get is the power you're going to keep.
You know, that makes sense because the selectors are either waiting for a digit or they're cut through just being very passive. So they don't need balanced power for any reason at all.
No, they really don't.
But the connector has to have balanced power, so that's why it's silent from the get-go.
Yes, that is why. I never thought of that till now, but yes, that must be it.
Neither did I. And it's heartwarming to hear you say you love step-by-step. I didn't know that.
Well, I love the concept of step-by-step. I admit that I am a Bell system... I'm a common control bigot. I love panel, I love number 5 crossbar, and I love, believe it or not, ESS.
I can understand that after 1983, but anyway. Uh-oh, guess who can hold me up?
290, you got 290.
is not in service at this time.
As you hear me pulling the
Oh,
pickup coil away.
and that's the end of that recording.
Yep. That was the test board on a 11X code. So there really was a valid 11X code in the office. And as you said, I got 290'd. When I dialed 290, it would start ringing right away. There was always a lot of hum on the line while it was ringing. And then some guy would answer.
Hello?
Well, it became apparent on subsequent calls that whoever he was, I couldn't hang up on him, because if I did, he would still be there when I picked up my phone again a few seconds later. Whatever 290 was, I didn't think I liked it.
Being 290'd, you have to be from Long Island to appreciate it.
That's right. And if you're from Front Royal, it's being 11 something, apparently.
John and I were talking the other night, and he found this, how do you say things in various parts of the country?
Right.
And one of the things was a long sandwich with cold cuts and lettuce and tomatoes and such on it. What do you call it? And I said a hero.
Or a hoagie. Or a sub.
Well, right. Those were the three choices. Hoagie is Philadelphia. Sub is everywhere else except, as he put it, for Hempstead. He said the map showed not the whole island, but kind of there in the middle west part.
You're kidding. So in other words, somebody bothered to do the hoagie sub hero map.
They did. Oh, they did for everything. This is a whole thing. I don't know where he got this from, but they did maps on everything. Like, for example, a drive-through liquor store, which I'd never heard of. In some areas, they call them brew-throughs.
Wow.
And it shows where they call them what. And one of the choices was, we don't have a word for that. It was a great thing. But the thing, the hero, and it showed essentially our chunk of Long Island. It was just amazing.
How about that?
Yes.
We'll be heading into hoagie territory quite soon, by the way.
More or less. Well, I don't know. Is that only 215, though? A hoagie. Is that the only place they have hoagies?
You pronounce it correctly.
I'm trying. Yeah, 717. Well, I remember I was there in 69, and I learned all about that.
My impression, now, I would have to defer to the map, but my impression is that the expression hoagie extends into 717, and therefore is pronounced hoagie instead of...
Oh, once you hit 717.
Yeah, there. I know at camp, which was in 717, hoagie was the word. So our next stop on the phone trip is to head up Interstate 81, and we went through Maryland, but you know Maryland.
Tick-a-clock.
Tick. Over T-carrier.
Well, being a Long Islander, what's wrong with that?
Well, more T-carrier than Long Island. That's what.
Ooh, that I get your point.
Yeah.
That was the early D1 days. That's nasty.
Yep. And but the other good thing about Maryland that we didn't appreciate was that it was more operator intensive for intercept. There was a lot more, operator intercept everywhere.
Yeah, a lot more going on.
So the next thing we thought was worth recording, running right past the panhandle of Maryland, was in the panhandle of West Virginia, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Martinsburg, West Virginia, about which I know nothing, by the way, but knowing you, it had to be independent.
Well, actually, this was I should say something. This trip was designed to skirt the Bell system as much as possible, but Martinsburg was the exception.
Yeah, I don't know Martinsburg
but
at all.
It was interesting enough to record because it was a step, and it wasn't Sperryville, thank God.
And one to the toll machine and everything.
And 3 to the toll machine in Sperryville.
Oh, well, of course it was. Oh, that made it worse.
Yeah.
The guard band to do anything good.
I know.
Yes.
The next stop is Martinsburg, West Virginia, one of only 3 Bell System points that Dave and I recorded in August 1976, the other 2 being Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Allentown, Pennsylvania.